person. You can be that person. Has really awesome speed, and I think the next Pokemon that he picks up, yes, it does have Thunder Punch. Sweet. All right, cool. I'm
Yeah,
not off base here. But his second pick is the Heatran, and Heatran is an incredible Mon. It has so much coverage. It has so much moves. It can do a decent amount of damage on everything. It's one of the few Pokemon that can actually neutralize Sylveon.
yeah. I was really. This was Heatran's one of the top choices in any of these formats in the league formats. I think there are a lot of people that like Bade in particular, and probably um, Mighty Quinn as well, who were really wanting that bulky steel and the fire coverage for their teams. And this was a really great pick. Heatran does a lot. You only really got the fighting and the ground weaknesses, which aren't really that well. They're fairly common, but easy to cover at this stage in the draft, which he's done later as really well.
Yeah,
And
it
he's
also brings him a Stealth Rocker and a Trapper too at some point.
yeah, it's a really solid pick. It can go offensive and defensive. It's good to have a. It's good to pick up Pokemon early that have a lot of variability and options.
Yeah, that's true. Um, he took out one of the biggest threats to Heatran too, which is the Mega Lopunny. Heatran doesn't appreciate Mega Lopunny, but they appreciate each other on a team together.
Yeah, it covers a lot of Lopunny's weaknesses. They're both weak to fighting, I think, but yeah, still early stage, and he covered that really well over the next few picks.
Yeah, and then he picked up in his final OU pick was the Thunderous Eye, which has the Prankster ability, and it also has Defiant too. Not a lot of people run that though. Yeah, Talonflame
Yeah,
is pretty much gone for this for Heatran. Heatran is not. He doesn't care about Talonflame.
yeah, no chance a Talonflame's ever going to take out a Heatran
But
unless
his
you.
unless what?
I was going to say unless you run Natural Gift Hidden Power with the Ground Berry,
Oh
that
yeah,
would
there's that thing too.
that would be a play.
That would be the play of the season. So watch out for that. Thunder's Eye is an incredible mon. It has Prankster, Thunder Wave, Thunderbolt, Focus Blast, Sludge Bomb, or Sludge Wave, and it has Grass Knot and other things that I can't remember. It also has to our knockoff. There we go.
Yeah, like I think Thunderous is just a lot of people again were really a lot of people got sniped by this pick, and Alinsco has a really good sense of taking Pokemon that at the right spot, and I think this was a really good pick for where his team was at this time. Like he has another really variable Pokemon. He can run it defensive. He can run it offensive. He can run it physical even. And Prankster is such a really good ability in this format, and he's got by far the best Prankster user. So
Oh yeah.
three really solid picks to start off.
Yeah, it also adds a lot of speed to his team. I think Thunder's Eye has a base speed of 111.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
Yeah, and Mega Lopunny is just a really fast mon. So he's got a really fast team. He's got a decent amount of defense, and Heatran has a lot of resistances. And I like his first three picks. I like how he picked up the things that he needed to pick up, and then how he built around those three picks.
Yeah, like the rest of the draft, he's got his main three hitters. So he gets a couple later on, but he's got his main three offensive threats, and the rest is really drafting well around those.
Yeah, so his very first UU pick was the Tentacruel, a rapid spinner, Scald, and it's pretty fast too for being a rapid spinner, one of the fastest rapid spinners with a base speed of 100.
Yeah, it's one of the best rapid spinners. It's such a great, just walls a lot. Water poison is a really good type. It's only weak to a couple of things really,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's another fighting resist, which is important to help Megalopunny. It resists something else. What
Fairy,
was
poison, grass, bug. I think.
yeah, fairies and fairy resist is good to
Yeah.
but
Tentacruel is also a toxic spike setter too, if he wants to run that too.
yeah, that's another really niche kind of, and it's something that wouldn't surprise me that he would run. Last season, he showed that he was probably the best at um, coming up with creative sets, and he had a very underrated team last season that put in a lot of work. So I'm expecting big things from this Tentacruel and a lot of other of his picks as well.
Yeah, he definitely did have one of the most underrated teams last season, and he's the one that had the regenerator core, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and with that regenerator core, he really provided a lot of power. Um, in terms of the team itself for this season, I like the Tentacruel. It complements everything. The only thing that he has to be really wary of is that Megalopunny is not that bulky, so Heatran and Tentacruel are very prone to Earthquake. But like we said, this is still really earlier on the stages, and
yeah. And he's already got one resist in Thunderous, and his next couple of picks really help that ground weakness get fixed.
yeah. So his very next pick for a UU, his number 2 pick for UU is the Honchkrow, a burp of many scary things. The burp king.
Yeah, there's a lot of burps this season.
Oh yeah, lots of burps. I'm a fan of that.
Yeah,
Uh,
this was another really good pick, I thought. He made a really good start to the draft.
yeah, the Honchkrow provides Sucker Punch, Moxie. It has Brave Bird. You can easily sweep with Honchkrow, Sucker Punch, and then you can proceed to sweep with Brave Bird. I do believe it has U-turn too. I think it does. I'm pretty sure. But it also has Super Luck if you don't want to run Moxie. Super Luck is a thing. People can run that. I've seen that a couple times. I can trap Psychic types with Pursuit. So if Megalopunny is in the battle and he wants to trap that Psychic, well, Pursuit will come into action and sort of throw that out.
Yeah, it's another one of those Pokemon that has a lot of options as to what you can want it to do.
And
But
I bet you not. I will bet you about almost anything that this man, him being the creative type, that he's gonna bring a nasty plot Honchkrow once in this season.
uh, you'd have to give it a shot. Uh, there's nothing if you can find the right matchup. It has a really decent special move pool, and it gets access to. It's got a pretty decent speed as well. So if the opportunity is all right, I reckon he'd be someone that would definitely try something like that.
Yeah, he would be the guy to do that. But he picks up another prankster user in his final UU pick, and that is the Whimsicott. And that thing is perhaps one of the most annoying Pokemon that you can ever come across.
Oh yeah, I can't say anything positive about Whimsicott. Never had a good experience with it. Uh, so that means it's a great Pokemon.
Oh yeah,
And especially in this format, again another prankster user. It seems like he drafts in themes. Last year it was Regenerator. This year it's going to be annoy everyone with prankster. But I yeah, it was a good pick. Covers more weaknesses again. Gives him another ground resist. Yeah, another fighting resist, which he's fairly weak to in his first couple of picks.
Yeah, I like where this Pokemon went to. Like, if it went on any other team, I would be like, maybe not. But this team is the perfect team for this thing to really, really be a new vein on your forehead. Just because he has Tentacruel, Heatran, Honchkrow, they all resist poison, which is pretty much the only thing to really take down Whimsicott. And this thing can do so much. It can Leech Seed, it can Encore, it can't Taunt. I don't think it can Thunder Wave, but it can do a lot, and it can do those things really, really annoyingly. So I like where this team is, or where this Pokemon went, and I like how it complements his team. Um, this thing is going to be a problem to take down in this team just because of the supporting cast it has already.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It wouldn't surprise me to see something like a Prankster Tailwind go off as well. If he was about to go down, he can sack it off.
Yeah,
It does Tailwind, I think. Yeah, there it is.
and once again,
Uh,
it's another fast Pokemon with Switcheroo. So and it does have Stun Spore, but he would bring that. He would bring Stun Spore. I would see that. Don't bring it against me, please.
oh, that would be a nightmare.
It also has Switcheroo, which means he can switch any item that he has into another person. So that really, really breaks down things like Chansey, Blissey, uh, other Pokemon that really like to stall Milk Tank at some point. Uh, Quagsire if it wasn't on his team, but hey, the Ditto's a thing too. But I like the Pokemon where it is. I like this pick. I think it's a genuine snag. This is probably one of my favorite picks on this team just for where it is and which team it's at.
Yeah, couldn't. He was probably the perfect person to take it. I think it definitely would have got drafted, but I'm not really sure if it would have been all right on other teams. And he's definitely got a really good steal late in the at the end of round 6 in the U.
Yeah, and his going with that, we're gonna go with his very first pick in the RU round, which was the Bronzong. So a really bulky mon on both the special and defensive side. Once again, it can set up Stealth Rock, which is a nice thing. It can also set up dual screens, I do believe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a fairly common runs on set.
Yeah, and it has two great abilities, that being Levitate and Heat Proof, which really makes it grants more immunities to like Earthquake or even Fire Blast. But I think I'm not so fond of this Pokemon where it is. It's great that he has another Steel type, but Heatran and Bronzong, they do two different. Well, they do two different things, but they're pretty similar on stats, and I think Heatran sort of does it better. I don't know if how he would bring this Bronzong into the battle though. It's gonna be interesting because he has to either side with I'm gonna bring in Bronzong or I'm gonna bring in Heatran. They do. It's tough to say. It's tough to say. They do two different things when you're saying it pretty quick. They do.
Yeah.
Anywho, I'm not so fond of this pick just because like Whimsicott is a really perfect mon of where it is, but Bronzong for the team that it's at, it doesn't really make much sense, and I think he could have gone something different for RU.
Yeah, I see where you come from. I think drafting Pokemon of the same type, especially when both of them are mostly used, especially well, Bronzong is used for mainly the same things that Heatran is used for. But if they're he didn't have any overly huge needs at this stage, so I reckon slotting Bronzong in I reckon mainly for the screens. I think that's probably his best user for them. Maybe Alamamola, his next pick. But it wasn't it's probably not my